70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. If you go back historically, that's actually up 10% from pre-pandemic. So I have a question. Is being poor a choice? We're going to have this conversation with Dion and Matt, the lumberjack. Dion, let me throw this to you first. What do you think? Is being poor a choice?
Becoming poor, being born poor, or having something happen in your life that you don't have control of, like a health concern or maybe a divorce or death in the family, is not often a choice. There are people who go through a divorce and it wasn't their choice. And so becoming poor, no. Being born poor, no. But staying poor or becoming poor if you have a high-paying job is not only a choice, but it's choices. Constantly making the same decisions. Examples are if you have streaming services, but you don't have a savings rate, you're choosing to be poor.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of wisdom there. Matt, kind of your thoughts as we kind of start this off is being poor a choice?
If you stay poor, it is. I mean, obviously, all of us grew up poor. didn't have a whole lot of money, and parents at best lived paycheck to paycheck, and usually that paycheck was already spent, so they were actually just paying off what they had already done. But largely, I think that I think if we all did a post-mortem for ourselves on our own families, it was choices that they made that kept the family poor. And so I think it's largely the same thing now. People make these choices to keep themselves poor in the effort to appear wealthy.
Yeah.
Which is the biggest punchline ever. Like, the whole reason that they are actually poor is because they want to appear as though they aren't.
It's really funny you brought that up, because I'm always reminded of the first financial book I ever read. I think I was a teenager, like 13, maybe I was even 12. It was called The Millionaire Next Door. And I think it's on the first page. It might be the second page. He talks about big hat, no cattle. And I remember reading that and not understanding the inference. So it was one of the times I actually remember going to my dad saying, like, I don't like, what is this, a Texas? Like, I assumed it was a Texas thing, right? No, that's where I thought cattle was, in Texas, right? And he had to explain to me that it was basically, keeping up with the Joneses. Gary Vee talks about, one of the reasons we're all poor is because we're buying things to impress people that we don't even like. And it's this circle that we go through. So I think I agree with both of you. Being poor, it happens for lots of reasons. Like you said, death, divorce, transfers, being born into a family with not a lot of money. There's all kinds of reasons you could be momentarily poor.
Sure.
But I do think staying poor, I think, as both of you brought up, is a series of choices.
Absolutely.
And, the other side of that coin is getting rich or wealthy is rather simple. It's only 3 steps. We've talked about them forever, but yeah, it's, this whole delayed gratification and grit, is really important. So, Dion, back to you. Is being poor a choice? Keep going.
The poorest I've lived is once I was wealthy.
Tell me more.
Yep.
So for most of my life and most of people's lives, we work hard. We feel like we earn a reward. We want to party on the weekend. We want to go to dinner with our friends, even if it's not a club scene. We want to take a vacation. We want a nicer car. We've earned something from our hard work. Once I started getting wealthy, and I realized if I delay the gratification, if I can sum up all self-help books and all religion and all investing into 2 words. Because what is self-help books? Take care of yourself now so you have a better future. What is religion? Live a good life so you have a better afterlife. What is investing? All of it comes down to prioritize later. And once I started getting wealthy, and I think that the reason I want to bring this up is I think you guys had the same experience. You started making a lot of money. You and Olivia realized, wow, if we cut our spending a bunch, we'll have a bunch of money to invest. And Matt, you house hacked like 9 times. You didn't need to.
No.
All of those 9 times, but those 9 times made today what it is. Correct. And so up until 40, I was the, try to enjoy life, try to do things, take vacations, nicer cars. But at 40, I started doing older cars. I started making more money. I started having investments. I stopped vacations for 8 years. I had no streaming services. My poor kids had their teenage years with the 9-season boxed Friends DVD set. Like, we didn't have cable, we didn't have streaming, we didn't have anything, because I was putting money to work.
Wow.
And so the poorest I lived was once I started getting wealthy, so that I never have to live poor again. And I think people are still just choosing to have a better now and never prioritizing later.
Yeah, it's so funny. You know, I'm obviously on this health kick. You know, I've done a wealth building journey for 20 some odd years now, a health kick for almost 11 months now. And it's remarkable to me how similar the thing is, right? Getting wealthy or getting in shape is a decision, a choice, as we're saying here. And then it's a series of daily actions.
Correct.
You can't let go of the rope,
Correct.
right? And, you know, the funny thing for me is getting healthy, you know, let's do what wealthy, right? You all three of us talk about the first 5 years suck in getting
Yes.
wealthy.
Yep.
In getting healthy, it's like the first 5 weeks because you don't really see anything. You've got to cut out crap that you really like. You got to, you know, buy different things to eat, and you're learning and you're tracking things. It's so similar to me. It's just such a shorter timeline, right? You can get remarkable. You could be a different human being in 6 months.
Yeah.
Right. I went from an extra large shirt to a medium. I went from 34s to 30. And it's like, it's worth it, right? More energy, all these good things. And I'm doing this as an old man. I can't imagine doing this when I'm 20 or 30, right? When you made of plastic. I mean, God, man. So it's just, it's so interesting to me that my superpower of focus and daily execution that I didn't know I had until I quit is all it takes, right? Just grit and, you know, focus. So guys, if you want to get healthy, you can. If you want to get wealthy, you can. It's all choices. Matt?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's not talking about it, it's doing it.
Yeah.
Like, you actually have to do. You actually have to take action. You know, one of the biggest insults I often throw at people is, yeah, I've been hearing you talk about that for years.
Yes. Yeah. You said that 3 years ago. That's what's
That
different.
means you're a loser. That means you don't take action. That's literally what that means. That means you're a loser. If you're yep, I do. I'm a doer. You know what? I'm not afraid to fail. I fail all the time. It is what it is. You know, when I first started back into collecting, you know, sports cards, I made some absolutely horrible mistakes. Absolutely horrible. Where it was just like, why did that was not a wise purchase. That was not wise. That was not
I'll
wisdom.
remember that one.
Yep. And it's like, okay, yep. Okay. What category does that fit in? Okay. Don't do that again. Don't do that thing again with the next player.
Right.
And so that's where the opportunity is. And the opportunity comes from going out there, making mistakes, learning from them. That's why all of us have courses. That's why, is because it's literally a report card on here is all the stuff that I screwed up.
Yeah.
Here's all the stuff I've done wrong. Here's all the wrong ways that I did it. And here's why I now do it all this way. So literally, it's so you don't have to make those mistakes. But for me, it's different. It probably isn't. You know, and so there's that opportunity that everybody gets where they get to say, all right, basically what I'm doing is instead of spending, and I always have people put it in that framework, right? Where it's okay, it's a couple of $1,000 over the next year. Do you think you can save $2,000 doing this? Yeah, probably. And then I say, okay, then 6 months and 12 months later, I say, did you save that? Right. Yes, I did. How many times did you save it over? 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. Right. That's where it makes a difference. But it all started by having to plant a flag and start doing. Start doing. Your journey of health is successful because you are doing. Our journey of finances is successful because we are doing. Even though we do a lot less now than we did when we were trying to build, that's the, you know, that's the plane taking off scenario. You know, you use 30% of your fuel for the entire trip just taking off.
Right.
That's the idea. So people just need to get in. They need to find people that they like to learn from. They want to accomplish what they've accomplished. And they need to just start doing. Start doing. Shut up. Stop talking. No one cares. Well, I was thinking about, dude, you're becoming a punchline. Yeah. You're becoming a punchline.
Yeah.
You know,
it's really funny you bring that up because, you know, all three of us rolled out courses to help people. You know, we feel good about them, paint by numbers. What I really found is, and you do this with your boot camp, is It's the community aspect. You got to get other people around. And that's why I'm so happy we did this school community.
Yeah.
Because it's 500 people going the same direction, and they're all at different places and helping in different areas. And now we're getting, little local meetups going, and it's only going to get bigger from here. So you got to get, like, if you want to get wealthy, you have to be around other people that want to get wealthy. That's why I now call it a wealth club, right? It's not a health club. It's a wealth club. And this is just, it's fun to watch it evolve. And, we're everyday wealth builders. Obviously I wear this hat everywhere, but yeah, this is, if you want to get, if you don't want to be poor, join a wealth club and watch what other people are doing. Dion? You're on mute.
You're on mute. But what you're saying, I'm sure, was amazing.
I'm sure it was awesome. There he is.
Most important thing I'll ever say, I'm sure. I think some people are not bad with money. They're just really good at lying to themselves.
Agreed.
And
yeah.
If you have an honest conversation with people, I can usually pretty quickly figure out if they're going to be financially successful or not. And it comes down to what they're willing to be uncomfortable with. If they say, well, I can't house hack, I go, okay, cool. You have a reason why you can't house hack. And then, so you've eliminated even a house with an ADU. So you don't ever want to have a neighbor ever again in your life. Can't possibly have a house next to you. Alex, the accidental investor, just bought a house in Bremerton with an ADU, separate driveways, separate fenced yards. And there are people who say they couldn't do that.
Right.
So they're not comfortable enough to do that. Well, then if you can't cut out streaming services, you're not willing to be uncomfortable. If you can't have roommates, you're not willing to be uncomfortable. If you can't drive an older car, you're not willing to be uncomfortable. And if you're not willing to be uncomfortable, you're always going to be uncomfortable because you're trading your work for the rest of your life because you won't give up a few things for a while. And when it comes to the teaching aspect that Matt brought up, as a parent, all three of us are parents. We don't teach our kids because we know more than them. We teach our kids because we made more mistakes than they made so far.
We hope.
And we want to say, hey, don't do these things because this could be a negative outcome. Kind of like Edison documented over 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb.
Correct.
Right. So other people can go, okay, these are the things we were not going to try. There are people who have reached financial freedom that you can learn from. But you have to figure out, what are you able to be uncomfortable doing? Because that's the idea. If it was comfortable to become wealthy, everyone would just be wealthy.
Exactly.
It's comfortable to eat fast food and be fat. It's comfortable to work instead of create worth, like value, to just go find a job, be an employee. We've said it a few times. We're both employees. I'm more comfortable going to work for someone else.
Amen.
Selling my life 1 hour at a time, building their dream, than I was at growing my own business. So I did investing, which is a way of growing a business that doesn't put me in the uncomfortable that I'm not good at.
Yeah. And it's funny when you brought that up, because one of the books, obviously, I think we all read, or at least listened to, was the Cash Flow Quadrant. And obviously, there's the employee, which again, Dion, you and I fall in nicely. Then there's small business, big business, and investor. And I don't know, I read that book half a dozen times, and I could never put myself in the small or medium size. It's like, I don't know what it was, a blind spot, I'm sure, a not understanding, but it's like my brain wasn't wired to that. So I had to go, to your point, had to be an investor. I just had to skip those. And, it took a long time, but it was certainly worth it. Matt, let's kind of start bringing this home. Again, being poor a choice. I think we're all saying staying poor is a choice, but bring us home.
Yeah, so I'd like to talk to the poser who was in my comments last week, saying that as soon as he heard that I had a course, he wasn't interested anymore.
Okay.
So here's my challenge for Poser Boy. Let's see in a year where you are, and let's see in a year where I am. Just percentage. You have a lot easier path being at 0 to grow exponentially over where I am, which growth is a challenge, and it's a massive effort because of how the sheer size of turning a battleship versus turning a frigate, appropriate word. So I think at the end of the day,
drink, Dion.
At the end of the day, what's most interesting is that the posers and the talkers love to mock the doers. Don't care, dude. In a year, I'll be in a better place, and in a year, you will be in the same or worse place.
Yeah, this
You have
everything
no
goes.
off ramp. You have no off
Yeah.
ramp. Nothing.
Yeah, this always goes back to me thinking about our sports analogy, right? There's the people in the parking lot, which clearly this guy is, who's trying to throw stones at somebody who's on the field, you. And it's like, I can't even hear you, right?
Yeah.
You're not even in
Jordan,
the
you
arena.
suck. Jordan, you suck.
Yeah.
Like,
It
come
just
on.
it's funny to me. It always goes back to Dion has the hardest job. I cannot imagine
Agreed.
dealing with drunk, hopeless, people in the parking lot. But that's why he's the teacher.
It's true.
So here's the way I would put this when somebody says, you have a course, I'm not interested, Matt.
Yes.
First, don't argue with them, because when you argue with fools at a distance, people can't tell you apart.
True story.
But second, the person saying you have a course is looking at your social media as a funnel, because they think of how businesses work, how our real estate works. We have a funnel. We advertise to the largest group of tenants. We filter down to the ones we would want. Then we have a conversion point and we put them in our business. So real estate runs like a business. But what we're doing is the social media content that we put out, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, we need a filter, not a funnel. You can create a community and tell everybody, hey, everybody join, and we're going to talk real estate. It's free. There will be zero value in that community. You
Correct.
get the scams, the bots, the people who just want to create hate and discontent, the TikTok people who go, how many Zoom meetings can I join before they don't realize I don't work for Zoom, and they're wearing a Zoom shirt? This is literally a TikTok trend. But when you put, like, my members only, it's $2.99 a month. I'm not doing that to make money. I'm doing that because you don't get any bots, you don't get any scammers. I haven't had any come in. It'll happen now that I'm saying it. Somebody will jump in there just to make noise on Zoom, but it's so we can all jump on Zoom. When everybody is in school, 67 cents a day, right? What is that in the grand scheme? It's a filter, not a funnel. You're taking, those are the 500 people that you can get into a room with right now on school and say, okay, which one of the meetings 7 days a week lines up with my schedule? Which topic is most likely to land? And all of these are people that wanted the same filter. They want the scams out. They want the bots out. They want the naysayers out. They want the people that are actually going to be taking action in the same room to have the same conversations. So kind of flip the script. When somebody says, you have a course, that this is just a funnel for your thing. No. I'm going to help people buy real estate. I'm going to help people find financial freedom. I don't want to waste my time.
Exactly. I love that.
My preference is to mock.
Yeah, just a different strategy, same outcome. Matt, do me a favor. Where can people find you and when's your live?
Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram as well. There's a lot of stuff doing. We're going to do an upstairs final tour of the jail. The jail upstairs is going to be done in the next 10 days or so. And you can find me on Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern time, where I just answer your questions based on where you are. Where are you in your journey? What are you struggling with? Where are you that I can help with? That's where I want to kind of give you the 10 fingers, not just 2, but all 10, and help you out.
There you go. Dion, bring us home, and where can they find you and when's your live?
You can find me right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom, live stream every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific. And for the people who would never pay for a course or a membership or school or anything, Matt's live Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific. I'm live Tuesdays, 4 p.m. Pacific. Zuber is live every morning, 7:30, except for Thursday, it's 7. Yeah. 5 days a week with free content.
Free.
Yeah. Free. Yeah. Love it. Guys, you're amazing. Take care. Thanks for your day.
Thanks, Mike.